How's it going, Detector Rats? This is Park Rat Pat. It's a project day. Probably going to be a project few days. I'm going to take this hatchet I found while I was doing a hunt at the old Renaissance Fairgrounds, and I'm going to restore it. So today we'll be knocking the handle off and doing a chemical soak, see if we can get this thing looking a little bit better, and I think it's going to turn out nice. I'll keep you posted at the next step. Let's take a look at what's going on. I got the old handle knocked off of the axe hatchet, and I put it down in the bucket along with a wrench I found many hunts ago, probably last year sometime. And we're just letting this soak right now in the cheapest I could find. Great value brand distilled white vinegar. Use whatever brand you like. The rat doesn't care. Anyway, if this doesn't work, I'll buy some type of professional cleaner. But I've seen some videos on YouTube, guys using vinegar, things coming out fine. So, we're holding out hope for this one. I'm going to let that sit about an hour and then check the items. I'll get back to you with that. Alright. It has been about an hour now. Let's take a look at how our little project is doing here. Things still look the same, but let's touch one and see what happens here. Is any of this coming off? This one was really thick with it, and you can see that hasn't been touched. Now this surface does feel a little different, but still it's not, not melting off of there. I'm going to take a wire brush to this and then put it back in and see where we get. Just keep letting it soak. Okay, it's been a couple more hours. These things have been soaking. Let's look in there and see if we can spot any difference. Yeah, I can see a difference on that. Let that keep soaking. How about the wrench? Yeah, the wrench is knocking down too. Almost, I don't know what that stuff was. It's coming off, and looks like eventually we'll be able to see a brand on there. So I probably will have to go to some heavier chemicals, but for now we're just going to leave those soak. I'll put the lid on tight, leave them overnight. We'll check them again in the morning. Alright, good morning everybody. It is the next morning, and the axe head and wrench have been soaking overnight. Let's pull them out and see if we can take a look and see how they are. Let me get this one out of here first. You can see the water looks slimy. There's oil in it. There wasn't oil before at the other times we've checked in. Let's put this over there for a second. Go back for the other one. Alright. We'll get this over there. Alright. Let me get some rags and brushes and stuff, and we'll get them wiped off and check out what they look like. Alright then. They're coming out okay. Not too bad. You can still see some heavy stuff on there. And of course the little detail is not coming out as good as it was even before. And everything's gone black. You can see the build up here still in there. So I'm believing this one, you can see it's starting to scale off. But I'm thinking it's time to buy some professional chemicals, hit Lowe's or Home Depot, see if I can get one of the rust removers out of there, some navel jelly, and give them a treatment with that. So we'll get on to that part of the project, but I've learned a bit and we are moving forward. Alright everyone, we're back. As you saw from the last clip, the vinegar did so-so. So now I've gotten evapor rust. Watched a bunch of videos on that and saw it compared to some other stuff and said, hey, I'd like to get the best stuff I can get. This was what was available. It came in about the mid-range of all the different products, and that's fine with me, so we're using that. And you can see I've got the parts soaking now again, the axe head and the wrench, and so we'll see what happens with those. They say to give them about a 12-hour soak, but I'm a little impatient, so we're going to check on this in a few hours, alright? I'll get back to you. Alright, it's been a couple of hours. Let's take a look at how things are going now that I've got it in the new chemical, the evapor rust. And let me get down in there and take a wipe and see if I can spot any difference here. Try and do it without blocking y'all out. Okay, I can notice stuff coming off. Oh yeah, stuff's leaking off of there. Yeah, I think that's getting better. Alright, we're gonna let these bad boys set overnight. We'll look at them again tomorrow. Okay, it has been 24 hours now of soak time in the evapor rust chemical treatment. So let's pull this out and see if we can spot any difference here. Oh yeah, that's looking really nice. I don't know if you can tell in the light. Looks like there was some leftover paint on it. And that still seems to have hung on. Alright, let me put this down and wipe it off, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so here is the wrench as it's come out. Not too bad. Can't make out what's on this side, but on the other side you can really see the beginning letters for DROP, drop. So drop forged is what that would have said. I think this could stand a little bit more time in the solution, so I'm going to drop it back in. But let's walk over here, if we will, for a moment and take a look at the hatchet head. This is drying out nice. Yeah, got some fuzz on it there from wiping it down. Still got some of the old paint on it, orange and white. That's starting to peel off on the back there. A little bit of orange left on the other side. So very, very cool. Now this will take a little bit of light sanding, I think, and then some type of oil and heat treatment or whatever is required. I'll look that up. We'll sharpen it up and put the handle on. It already seems fairly sharp too, but won't hurt to clean up that edge a little, that's for sure. Alright, I'll catch you at the next step. Alright, so I've been working on the hatchet head here, and got the wire brushed to it just by hand, real easy. And up here I could see some writing, and it's real hard to make out even on camera, but what I gleaned from this was made in El Salvador. The other side also had writing. It says Cornetta. So I looked it up, and apparently cornetta is made in El Salvador, and this is a vintage tomahawk head, or hatchet head. They had a slash in there. Definitely pitted, you know, needs a little bit more love, but we're definitely going to get this thing back into some respectable shape. I'm happy to have it. I don't know if I might soak that end a little more, or just get a wire brush on the drill press and try to clean it up some more that way. Either way, that's just a quick update on where we're getting with this. Alright, here we go, everyone. This is the hatchet head as it sits now. Been sanded down, oiled. You can really make out the wording better, the cornetta, and even on this side when the light's right, if it'll focus, you can see the made in El Salvador. So yeah, got it tuned up. Amazingly enough, it has a really nice edge on it still without being sharpened. I went over it a couple of times with a little hand stone just to get a little shine on that edge, but as you can see in the close-up here, I have not like taken out nicks and chips and gotten it all showroom fancy and smooth or anything like that. It is, after all, a hatchet. So, happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to join it with this handle I bought. Super nice. It's a hickory made in the US. Dang skippy. And got the little kit that came with it to get it hooked on. So let me get this bad boy put together and I'll get right back at you. Hey everybody, it's Park Rat Pat. I'm out in the Enchanted Grotto, i.e. the messy area on the side of my house. And we're here for the wrap-up. So I've been working on the hatchet, as you've seen. I had found that out at the fairgrounds where they do the Renaissance Fair, but it was not a surface find. It was under at least 3 or 4 inches of soil, and the handle was very rotted, as you can see earlier on in the video. But something about it I just loved, and knew I wanted to try and restore it as best I could, or at least, you know, get it to a point where it looks really cool. And so as you saw in the video, I knocked the handle off and did some cleanup on it. We are able to see the words that are written on there. This side says cornetta, which is probably backwards for you, sorry. And the other side says made in El Salvador, if you can see that right and zoom in on it. Anyway, it's there. So it's a vintage tomahawk head from El Salvador, and I put it on this nice little hickory handle here, and she's good to go. I like the way it came out here with all the pitting and everything. Looks cool. Like I say, the edge was pretty well beat on all on its own, you know, except for a few chips and stuff that show its age. It's pretty cool. I don't know how long this thing laid in the ground. You know, could have been 10 years, could have been more. Based on the rot of the wood, I just don't know that much about rotting wood to really be able to age it. But it is old, and it's got some stories to tell. It had a past. It was at some events. It was camping with people. It was a kid learning how to cut kindling. You know, it was a lot of different things. It has a lot of stories. Now, chances are it's never going to tell me what those stories are, but I can guarantee you this. I'm going to be here for all the rest of its stories, and we're going to build some good ones together. Alright, thanks for watching this little video. I appreciate your support. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. God bless.